Good morning, class. Today I'll be discussing about the use of data structure notation in the stacks such as the postfix, the infix, and the prefix. I'll be also including the implementation using the Python. Let's start with the infix. When we're talking about the infix
and the prefix, assuming we're going to add two variables or operands, we call this an operands. If you're going to write it, let me say a and b, this can be your variable. Using the infix, we write this format, which is a plus b if it is addition. And if we're going to multiply it, we simply put it this way, so a times b. So this is an example of what we call infix notation. So the operators here, the asterisk and the plus sign. So we will know, we can say that it is an infix if the operators are in between the operands. So which are the operands here? The a and b are called the operands. So this is what we call again the infix notation. Alright, using the prefix notation, the difference with this one, the operator are written before the operand. So assuming we had here the a plus b, instead we can say add ab, or we can write it as plus ab. Okay, and if you're going to use the multiplication, then we can put here asterisk ab like this, and we can call this one as a prefix. So don't forget, if it is a prefix notation, it means the operators are written before the operand. So the operand here is the a and b. Okay, and let's proceed now. This one. Okay, with the use of the postfix notation, the operators are written after the operand. So just like this, using ab then plus. Actually, the equivalent is just the same with the infix and the prefix. So for multiplication, you can put this way, ab asterisk. So this is an example of postfix notation. Okay, any question before I continue?
No.
Alright, so let's proceed. So the terms infix, it means this one, when you can hear the word infix, it means between. Okay, between, this one. But you can hear the word infix. And if it is a prefix, this one, if you can hear the word prefix, it means that the operator should be displayed before the operand. Okay, when we say cross-ticks, the operator of these ones are displayed after the operand. Okay, is that clear? Don't forget on this one. Okay, now let's proceed. Okay, in calculation or performing a notation, parentheses also important, because there are expression, especially mathematical expression, where it requires a parenthesis. But before I'll show you an example with the parenthesis, let's add an example here. Let me say our expression is this one, 2 plus 3 times 5. Now, if we're going to implement a parenthesis, example, first option, it is written this way. Well, the output is 25. So in this case, this will be added first. So this is 5, then multiplied by 5, that's 25. That's why we get this result. Okay, because on this process, you do first the calculation using the parentheses. However, if the condition is, example, the asterisk displayed first like this, so the output is, you need to multiply first inside the parenthesis. So 3 times 5, this is 15. And then next is added by 2. That's why we had here the answer of 17. And this is applicable especially when you write your own program. Example, you want to create your own operating system or anything. And you need to set a rules when it comes to reading the expression or trying to scan the syntax of the code. So mostly the prefix, the postfix, and the prefix are actually applied. So in this example, the infix notation requires a parenthesis, but prefix and postfix doesn't require a parenthesis, only the infix. So in this example, what about if we're going to use the prefix notation? Let me say, this is a prefix because our operator is before the operand. So the 2, 3, and 5 are called operand. Now, if you're going to do it, first it will be calculated is this part. And then next, so this is 15. Okay, the result of this one is 15. Then added by 2. That's the reason why the answer is 17 using the prefix format. However, if this is your format, asterisk plus 235, so first that will be perform is this one. Okay, and then next is once the answer of this one is 5. Now 5 times 5 equals 25. So in this example, we are not using a parenthesis. Okay, is that clear? Is that clear? Are you still there? Hello? Okay. Is that clear? Did you understand? So you need to review this one again because you will be, applying this in our midterm exam. Any question for this one before I proceed?
None, ma'am, none.
Okay. So, with the use of the postfix example, this one is a prefix, meaning the operators is before. This time, using the postfix notation, so in this case, what we're going to do in here is try to perform this part first. 3 times 5, then plus 2, and the answer of this one is 17. So, you cannot do na mauna si plus. So, the one which is next into the operand and the operator will be the one to perform. So, these are, and cannot be na only one operator. It should be 2 operands. Cannot be only one operand. So, because it cannot do a calculation within itself. So, there should be always 2 operands. Example, this one. Partner. Always partner. Okay. And on this example, the program will do this calculation first. 2 plus 3, which is equivalent of this one is 5. Okay. And multiplied by 5. This one. And the answer is 25. So in this case, there is no parenthesis needed for the postfix. Okay? That's the difference between the prefix and the postfix because your operator is after the numbers or any variables. Okay, so therefore, the conclusion of this one, infix is the only notation that requires parentheses. Okay, don't forget this one. And you can only change the order if you put it arranged in a parenthesis actually. Alright, now with the use of FPE or fully parenthesized expression, so it has a set of parentheses including each operator and the operands. Okay, let's have here an example. Okay, which one do you think is the fully parenthesized? As you can see here, they're all parenthesized. So the answer, what's the answer of this one? Actually, this one. This is the fully parenthesized. Okay, not this one. Not this one. Alright. So, if we're going to convert the infix to prefix, let me say this is our expression. The rule in here, if you're going to move, first thing that you need to do is move the operator to the left of its operands. If you do the conversion na pag infix to prefix conversion, what your technique here, you remove this one, the operator, like this. These are the operators, and then the last na ang parenthesis. So how it looks like, okay, like this, we move the plus sign to the left side of this one. So this becomes now plus AB. Okay. Next is, what did I say? Infix to prefix. I mentioned prefix. Okay, next is, we're going to move the asterisk to the left side. Okay, this is becomes now AB. And we have left C plus D inside the parenthesis. So we're going to move the plus sign again to the left side. Alright, so we have now CD. So the order of operands here does not change. Okay, but if you're going to calculate it, it's still the same. Now, if you want to move it back, you just simply put here, and this one, and then this one. Okay, that's how the process going back, pabalik from infix to prefix if you want to return it back. All right. Okay, next, this time conversion of infix to postfix. Normally it is on the parenthesis, inside the parenthesis. So if we want to convert this, first we need to move the operator on the right side. That is the difference. You have to remember that. If you're going to convert infix to postfix, when you move the operator, it should be on the right side. Okay, we have moved here the plus, then the asterisk on the right side, this one, and this one. Okay, the minus ang pinaka last, the one in between. Then the result would be like this. So the parenthesis will now be removed. And the operator here does not change. And the operators also in order of evaluation. Okay, so you have to remember on this one. Okay, next, let's proceed. The algorithm here with the use of fully parenthesized. What's the letter E again? I forgot. What's the E? I got amnesia. Expression. Okay, expression. I got amnesia for a while. Okay, fully parenthesized. Okay, algorithm. So here, our assumption, one, we have to take note of the space. And when we are talking about the tokens are this one, the parentheses, the operands, and the operator. So these are the tokens. So the program will try to read from here, left to right, or sometimes from right to left. The program will also check the from top to bottom. Okay, if you have a long code, top to bottom. So there are different approaches. So in this case, normally when we try to read it, left to right. Okay, so those are examples of tokens, and normally it's represented using the infix expression. So here the operands are single characters normally. When we say single characters like X, Y, Z, or A to Z, or any letters in the alphabet, then the operands are, operators are applicable with this one. Okay, plus, minus, multiplication, and division. So if we're going to implement it in the program, first thing that we need to do is initialize our stack with the operator in the list. And then after that, we're going to split the input. Okay, these are the expression. So when we say splitting, it's going to check the parentheses, the operands, and the operators, all inside our list. So for each token, where we're going to read it from the expression from left to right, we're going to ask if it is an operand, then we're going to append to our output, meaning insert into our output, display it in our output. And if it is there is a parenthesis, then start reading on the opening parenthesis, then it will be put into the stack. Second, assuming done reading inside the expression, if there's now the end or closing parenthesis, it will be removed and then insert until we reach the opening of this one, opening parenthesis. So here, if we're going to analyze the infix to postfix conversion, this is our expression. First, we need to, in our program, we have to put it in an empty stack. Then, on this way, we can use a bracket, especially if you are using a Python, even in other programming languages. So, we have now empty, start reading the parentheses, put it in the stack, and now read the parentheses, okay, move in stack, and now it is an operand, that is letter A, move into our output, display it there. Now it's an operator, put in the stack for a while, then it's operand, letter B, put in our outputs, then it's parentheses, then put it there, remove, then operator, put it there. Now let's add again until you finish it all. Okay, this is just a process of trying to output or conversion of the infix to postfix format. Okay, so the problem with this one, the fully parenthesized expression, is if there are too many parentheses. So in this case, you need to establish a precedence rule. Okay, what are the precedence rule? So in mathematics, the most common rules that we can apply is the Maider and Ali. Okay, so multiplication first, division, addition, and subtraction. That's how you're going to analyze it, especially when you do the calculation. Now we can also change or alter the previous program if we want to use the precedence rules. So again, when we say precedence, that's the order of your operator when you try to analyze, when you do a transforming or do calculation. So you need to consider the precedence rule based on Maider and Sally. Multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. Okay? So here, if we'll just continue with our algorithm. Now, if it is an operator, now after the program will try to read in your expression, can determine, okay, there's a plus, minus, etc. Then we'll try to check the rules. Okay, the rules of this one. PEMDAS, parenthesis first, multiplication, addition, okay, etc. Okay, and then it will pop and insert into. Then next is insert again into the stack. Okay, just like this is an algorithm, then it will do the same process, try to remove it, and then insert it into our stack. So we're going to implement now. I will stop this one, share another slide. This time it's the implementation using the Python. Okay, but before that, let me discuss first some rules and algorithms, especially on this one, so you will be able to understand, especially when you can see a code implementation of Python. At least when you create it in your preferred language, example C++ or Java, then you can now picture out how it works. So let's us have here one expression, the 231 asterisk plus and 9. So in this case, if we're going to analyze this expression before we proceed with our sample program, we're going to scan the number 2 in here. Okay, the program will start reading on this part, number 2. Okay, and then we'll try to analyze. If it is a number, then it will be pushed into the stack. Then now our stack contains 2. Next, the program will check again. Okay, number, it is 3. It is a number. Then we're going to put it in the stack. Now we have 2 and 3. Alright. Now, the program will try to scan again. There is 1. Okay. It is a number. Then we can put it into our stack. Now we have 2, 3, 1. Next is scan the program again. The expression. Now it is an operator. So we're going to pop the 2 operands referring to the 3 and 1, which is closer to the multiplication. Okay? Okay, these are operand 1, operand 2. So we get here which this one, 3 times 1 equals 3. So if you're going to evaluate it, this one first, this part will be evaluated. And 3, then the number 3 will now be pushed into our stack. So we have now the 2, 3. Okay, remaining now 2, 3. Since there is a plus sign here, there is a plus operator, then we're going now to add this one, 2 plus 3, so which is 5. Okay, and the result of this one. And we're going to push it again into our stack, so it becomes 5. Now, there is a minus here. So, in this case, we had 5 and 9. And for this case, it would be like this. 5 minus 9, that's why we get the negative 4 in here, because 9 is greater than 5. So, since there are no more to be scanned, then it will stop scanning on that one. We'll have here the negative 4 as our answer. Okay, another one. Now, example number 2. Okay, so we had here the expression 4, 5, 6 asterisk. This is a postfix expression. First, it will try to put into our stack 4. Next is 5. This one, 5. Push into the stack. So we have now 2 in the stacks, 2 operands, 4 and 5. Then 6. Then we have now 4, 5, and 6. Then there is a asterisk in here. So in this case, what we're going to do now is multiply first the 5 and 6. Okay? Multiplying it, that's the reason why we had here. 5 times 6, that's 30. Now, we have remaining 4 and the plus sign. So, if we're going to push into our stack, we have 30. So, in here, this becomes 4 and 30 now in our stacks. And since there is a plus operator here, we're going to add the 30 and 4. So, we get the result of 34. Now, since there is nothing more to be scanned on this part, then it will stop. So this will be our final result, which is the 34. Okay? Now, first, we're going to check the rule of postfix expression. Well, if we're going to read the expression from left to right, we're going to move the element in the stack if it is an operand. When we are talking about the operand, either it's a number or a letter. And we're going to pop the operands. When we are talking of operands, it should be 2. Cannot be only 1. Okay? From the stack. So, if the element is an operator, plus, minus, division, etc., then we're going to evaluate it. When we say evaluate, we do the calculation operation. Okay? Just like what we did a while ago. Calculation. That's the meaning of evaluated. Okay, now number 3 rule, you're going to push back the result of the evaluation, then you're going to repeat the process until the end of the expression. So you have to take note, especially for the Postfix expression. Okay, now the algorithm for this one, again, we're going to create a stack, then we're going to store the operands or values, and then next thing that we do is we're going to scan the expression, and after that we follow the every element or object or data inside our list or values, and we need to determine if the element is a number, then we're going to put it in the stack. However, if the element is an operator, we need to remove it. Then we're going to remove the operands, the 2 operands for the operator from the stack. Then we're going to do a calculation, the operator, and push the result back to the stack. Okay, so when the expression is ended, then the number in the stack will be the final answer. So that will be your result. So this is the algorithm of using the post. Alright, so we have now here the sample program, okay, using the Python. Okay, in Python, there are different ways that you can write it. So this one, it is written using a function. So the DAF here, it means trying to create a function. The function name is called, okay, I'll try to erase. Okay, the name of our function is called Postfix evaluation. Okay, so we have here a parameter s. So s, whatever would be the list of our elements or the expression, okay, something like that. And then based on the algorithm that I discussed a while ago, so we're going to assign it, then the program will do the splitting. So what's the splitting? Example, if you have the expression, where is that? Like this, example 2 plus 3 and then multiplication multiplied by 5, and then another parenthesis in here, assuming, and then another one, let me say there is 5 again here. So the program will try to split this one first, split the tokens. So we call this one as the token, the parenthesis, the operands, the plus. So try to split it one by one. It's like when you try to divide it, so the program can easily read whether it's an operand, whether it's an operator, or it's a character, or it's a parenthesis. Okay, next the program will do is we'll check the length or the size. Just like this, we have, assuming we had the value of x, where inside in our list we have 1, 2, 3. So it means there are 3 numbers. So this is the meaning of length, meaning you want to get the size or the length of number of elements inside our list. Okay, next the program will declare first as an empty element, meaning you have to start from the empty. Alright, now in the next line of the code, there is for I in range referring to the n. Okay, this one referring to, assuming this is n. Okay, now what does it mean for I in range? In Python, the range is referring to 1 to 5 example. So this is the range. And when we are talking about the in, so it's like we are trying to ask here, is 1 in the list, something like that, in x, something like this, is 1 in x. Example, this is your variable x and you have 1, 2, 3. You are asking, can I find the 1 in our variable x? The answer is true. Okay, so something like that. So this is a keyword, special keyword in Python, the in and the word for. So this is also a keyword. The letter I here is just a variable name. Okay, you can put anything here. You can put item, you can put a or anything. So the keyword here only the for, in, and then the range. So this one is the parameter trying to call up the number or the number of inside our list in here. Then next is on this one, there's now a condition. Try to check if it is a digit. Let me say this one, the program will try to read line from left to right. It says here, and try to check the list. Is it a digit? Alright, check on the list. And on this case, if the answer is true, yes, then it will try to append or insert it into our stocks. So let me say our S is the stocks. So the I here is referring to the items in our list, which is 1, 2, 3 example. Now, there is a question. It's a, no, it's not a number. It's not a character either. Then it will proceed into the next line of the code. So it will try to skip on this part. The program will no longer perform this. Instead, we will proceed on this part, the LF. So this is equivalent to else F, the LF. So it would say, is it a plus operator? Okay, if it is a plus operator, then we're going to get the two operands. So this is the first operand, the second operand, which is A and B. So these are just a variable name. So the special keyword in Python is this one, the pop. Pop, where you want to remove it out of the list and then insert it again to do the evaluation or calculation. Since, let me say, if the answer is true, then it will do a addition. Okay, we had here A and B. So these are what we call the two operands that we have. We will do the calculation. Okay, assuming that after reading this one, okay, it's not a plus operator. It will continue to ask another else. Check, okay, it's some asterisk operator, multiplication. Assuming if this one is true, then we're going to get the variable for our first operand and then second operand, and will perform the multiplication. Okay. However, if this one is false, it's not a multiplication, then this will be skipped, this part. This will no longer be read by the program. Instead, the program will move now into the next line. Okay, I'm going to check. Oh, maybe it's a division. Okay, assuming if it is true, then it will now do the division. Okay. However, if this one is false, now it's not a division, then this will not be performed by the program. We'll proceed into the next. Alright, it's a subtraction maybe. So assuming it's a subtraction again, then the variable will perform the subtraction operation. Alright, same process. You're going to pop up the operand, value of A and B. So you can assign any variable name here anyway. And if not, meaning not of the choices, then it will return stack pop. So we'll try to remove it. So it's also important to consider here the space operator. So we can solve for 2 or more digits. So we have here an example. Our expression, the value of our S, the one mentioned here, so, this one, the S, okay, inside this one, the S. So the value here, let me say this is our expression, a Postfix expression, which is 1028 asterisk plus 23 and minus. And now if we're going to apply it, example, we had here the variable val, Postfix evaluation and S. So what's inside the S? Referring to this one, the expression that we have put in here. And what does it mean by Postfix evaluation? It means it will do this all thing. We'll try to read everything in the code inside here. Postfix evaluation will perform it. It's like in C plus or Java, we'll do scanning like a if else condition, something like that. That's why we had here. This one is a combination of for loops. Okay, that's the for loops in Python using the for I and range. Right. Now, the result of this one will actually produce the 23 answer. Okay, this is the result. So, let me show you the actual code in the Python. Let me share my other. Okay, let me try to stop sharing this one first. Let me know if you have class for the other subject. Okay, this one. Okay, this is now the actual program in Python. So I'm using the Python idle. So we had here. Okay, trying to split it. Okay, and then we had here the for loops. Then determine it if it's a number. Now, if you're going to run this, let me say I put this one 3 original. Okay, a while ago it's 3. Save it. If you're going to run this, it will actually produce the result of 23. Okay, you didn't see the output? Did you see the output? Are you still there? So if you want to see the output, let me share the window for the output. I think the sharing here does not share everything. So the result here, we had here 23. Okay, that's the result. Okay, now I will go back to my slide. Do we still have time? So we can proceed with another. Okay, this one. Okay. Now we are done with this one. Another problem is if we're going to implement postfix from infix expression. So we're going to solve problem using this one. Okay, before that, let's try to use this example first. Okay, example, this is our expression, a plus, then open close parenthesis. That is very long. So just imagine one by one, you have to remove the plus or the operators and the parentheses until you will be able to come up with this one. This is the final output. Okay, if you are using a what we call this one, an expression like this. So this is an example of infix to postfix, because as you noticed here, the example here is just the same example in the previous stacks that I showed to you. Okay, I just put it this way so I can save up on the slide. Right, just imagine that you have to one by one remove. First thing that you need to output is the negative, I mean the minus symbol here. Okay, this one. Next is you have the empty stack. So that is the first thing that you have, empty stack. Then this is your input, and then you're going to remove first this one by one until you remove all the operands, the operators, and the parentheses. Right, so one by one minus. So you have to put first the plus, okay, till you remove the paths, and then you remove the parentheses. Okay, this one. Next is another one parenthesis. So you have to output this one. So this is your stack. So take note, if it is in character or like the parenthesis, you have to put it in the stack and the operator. And if it is a number or digit, then you have to output it display, so you will be able to get the final answer, which is this one. This is your final output on that result. Now, if we're going to implement it using a program, let's analyze first the algorithm. let's say we're going to convert the infix to a postfix format. Alright, so in this case, we're going to accept the infix expression just like this. This one is an infix expression because our operator is in between the operands. Right. Now, we're going to assign it to our string. Let me say the variable is in expression. So, you can use any variable name here. Okay, example, for I in expression, meaning we're trying to find, is it the item available in our expression? So, if it is an alphabet or digit, then it will try to append it to the posted expression. Next, else if I is, it is a parenthesis and colon, example there is colon, then you're going to push it, same thing with this one, into our stack. If it is now a closing parenthesis and this one, or else, you have to pop as well the element from the stack and insert it again to our postfix expression until we get the ending parenthesis, this one the closing, on top of our stack. Then we can now remove this one, the left side of the parenthesis in our stack. Then we're not going to add it in our postfix expression. So third, and there's a condition. Now, after reading if it is an operator, then if the stack is empty, pag empty daw si stack, there's nothing, then we have to remove the stack, this one, the parenthesis, and we're going to insert the operator in our stack. Or else, we pop the elements from the stack and continue until the operator or less the residence than the I. Okay, the item. I is referring to the items in our list expression. Or we can, or else, then we need to insert into our stack. So, once we scan the expression completely from left to right, then we can now start popping or removing the elements in our stack and start inserting them to our postfix expression until we encounter this one, the parenthesis, when we can discard it. Okay, so that's the rule. Now, we're going to implement it using a program. So in this one, we're going to create a class using infix to postfix. So you can use any terms here since for demonstration purposes, since this sample program is conversion to infix to postfix, first that you need to do is declare the precedence. When we're talking about the precedence, these are the rules in mathematical expression, just multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, something like that. So it can be, as you noticed here, I forgot this symbol. I think it's high order than the multiplication. It's a quotient or for something like that. Then multiplication, division, addition, okay, subtraction, and etc. So this one is a feature in Python for slicing actually. And on this part, first that we need to do is we're going to initialize our stack. So using a bracket. Okay, in our bracket it should be empty, meaning our stack should be empty first. And next is we're going to determine the size of our list. When we are talking about the size, just like I mentioned earlier, let me say if you have x is equals to, we have the list of 1, 2, 3, 4, or we have the expression x plus 1 minus 1. So the program will try to determine it. And with the use of minus 1, so this is the equivalent of this one is like this. Let me say x is equals to x minus 1. Okay, something like that, equivalent of this one. Alright, how it should be done in here in our stacks. So every time you remove an element in our stacks, so the size will be deducted by 1. Now the next one on the list will be forwarded. Okay, so the position will now change. If you're going to read it, the index 0 to 1, so if you remove the last, let me say the parent, you remove it, so the next element to it will be moved to the left side. Okay, now that's next is we have another function called push. So this is just equivalent in C++ or in Java, where you're going to create a function. So the salt here is the parameter, and this is also a parameter. So it refers to this one, to our list of our expression, and try to insert the value. And every time that you will insert or read the expression, it will add up. So this, the equivalent of this one in our other programming languages, it would be like the x is equal to x plus 1. So there's always an addition of 1. Just like in a stack, when you add 1, then when you insert another one, so plus 1. So until it will fill up all the stacks. Now, we had here another function. So actually, we can also write a program without the function. So the purpose here, it was created using a function so that we can reuse the program. We don't need to type it over and over again, because this part can be just called up. Okay, now I continue. On this part, using the pop function, the program will try to determine, is it empty or the stack is empty? If it is empty, then there's nothing to do. It's return 0. However, it's not empty. There is an element inside our list. Then we can do the pop method. We can remove a data or element in our list, in our expression, the use of pop method. So this is a special keyword in Python, the pop. Okay, as well as the return. Now we're done with this one. So again, this one is different. There's no connection of this one. Okay, every function has a different function. Okay, let's move to another function using the sempty. The sempty will try to determine the list if it is empty, because when you try to delete the pop or the stack, you need to check first. It's like pick. Try to check, okay, there's a list, then assuming if the stack is less than 0, -1, meaning it's empty, there's nothing to be deleted or removed, it's totally empty. Then if this condition is true, then it will true. Okay, it will say okay, it's true. However, if this one is false, there is an element inside, then it will put this false result. So seek, this is equivalent in the one that I mentioned to pick. Okay, pick. It's like you want to check what is on the top of our stack. Okay, so you need to check if it is empty. That's the reason why this is a function coming from the previous function. This one is empty. You're trying to call it up. Empty. Okay, try to check. Okay, false, or else it will check the size now. Is it full? Maybe is it full? Maybe I can still insert it. Need to check whether it's full or not. So you need to check first the size to avoid the overflow. Okay. Next is there's another function that you created. So this is just a variable. You can put anything, but in this example, it uses the S operand just to remind the user or the one reading the program, okay, this function is to ask whether it has a operand. So we have here the parameter and the value. So in this case, we're asking here if I in something like this. So if our expression, let me say expression is A plus B, since the program will try to read this one from left to right, now we'll try to check. Example, we're checking now on this part, on the letter A. So the program will try to ask, is A or the item in this list, in our expression, is found in here? Well, the answer is true. Okay, there is letter A in here, because in the operands we can as mentioned in the rules, it can be only one character, so we can only use the A to Z in here, and it would say false. No, it's not a operand, it can be a number or it's a something else, then this will not be performed. That's the purpose. So on this side, so this is another function. We're going to declare it as postfix, so blank. On this case, it will now print postfix expression after every iteration. So this program will actually ask you to enter an expression. After entering the expression, it will now analyze it. So we'll try to read the expression, check the size, and if it is an even or odd, because we had here %2. So, and then if it is not there, it will display incorrect expression, because it requires to check the spacing, and the expression you might enter here is a postfix instead of the prefix, because this program can only accept the infix and then we'll convert it in a postfix. Okay, the condition here, if this one is false, then we'll proceed on this part. Okay, it's an operand. Okay, it's not a number, it's an operand. Then we'll try to check. Okay, it's not an operand, assuming this one is false, so it will proceed reading on this one. Okay, it's an operator. Then we'll try to check again. Then next thing the program will do is check the rules using the precedence rule. Okay, try to check on the parentheses, the bracket, the column, and etc. Alright, this one. Next is this one. If we're going to convert it now into postfix, so we had here, we're going to pop and then push, enter the value of I referring to the expression that we put there. And this one, we're going to push it, or else it's no longer a opening parenthesis, it's a closing parenthesis. Then it will be pop up, we'll remove, and it will continue to stop while it is not equal to this one, the opening parenthesis and colon. Then it will perform this option, the plus equals 0, IO. Okay, so the O in here is our variable name, do the pop up. So we'll try to do this option. Then we're going to display now the output. So N of, okay, there's a condition here, because you need to check if there is a opening parenthesis. So you need to remove it from Infix, because that's a rule before you're going to pop up and insert anything, for you to be able to come up with the postfix. So you will ask the user expression input, enter the expression. So on this side, if I'm going to enter the expression, let me say A times B times C, something like that, it will now produce the detail of our expression. Okay, something like this. If our expression is like this, G plus A, something like that, then the result would be this one. And the final result from infix to postfix. So this is now the output. Alright. So if we're going to run this in using a Python, okay, I just copied the code actually. Let me stop the sharing and let me share my, okay, here is now the complete code, the one that I explained a while ago. So it's all here. This is the longer code actually. Okay, this is the precedence rule. Okay, and if we're going to run this one, let us say run the module, so you will not be able to see. Okay, let me share the shell again. Okay, sorry, I stopped the sharing so you can see the output, because it is shown in the other. Okay, in this example, I'm going to write here, enter the expression. Let me say the expression is A uh, plus b, then times c. Okay, like that. We're going to enter this one. This is now the result. So we have here the infix. Okay, it tries now to do the iteration. So our final output now is AB asterisk and plus. Okay, that's now the result of the output. Did you see the output?
Islam.
Okay. So now that you have the idea how the infix in conversion, you can now implement it to the programming language that you know, either C++ or Java. Okay, because in this subject, your final requirement is you should be able to create your own, at least a simple algorithm. Okay, you can choose anything. If I were you, so you can think in advance what you want to do for your algorithm. Okay, so any questions so far? That would be all for our discussion for today.